and welcome to Film Forum, Atlanta's best movie talk show. We're here live down on 14th Street at People TV. I'm your host tonight, Steve Markos, and I'm with Aron Siegel, who's my regular co-host again.
Your regular co-host again.
How you doing, Aron?
I'm doing fine, Steve. How are you?
We've been on for a long while here on this Film Forum, haven't we? And we got a great show every night, as usual, I believe, don't we?
Great show every week, Steve. We're not on every night.
Every week. All right. Well, we're live down here. If you have any questions, you can call us at 873-6713. Number should be on your screen if you have any questions about movies that are coming out or anything like that. But anyway, let's get on with our show. Each week, I think we review 2 movies, I believe, don't we, Aron? What do we got tonight?
We have 2 feature releases tonight, Steve.
What are they, Aron?
Well, let's see. We've got Robocop 3, and we've also got My Life.
All right. Sounds like 2 winners. And then we'll have our Critics' Choice this week. We have films that are computer-oriented. And then we have a special guest tonight. Aron, who's coming on tonight?
Well, tonight, Steve, we have Debra Kennedy. She is the general manager of an AMC theater at North Lake Festival.
All right, sounds like a winner, and you need to stick around to ask Debra questions about movie theaters. And anyway, as we get started, we got a big show here tonight, so what do you want to start with?
I think I'll start with Robocop 3.
All righty.
This film is directed by Fred Decker. It's the 3rd installment in the Robocop series. Robocop is a policeman. He is part human, part machine. The machine part being the strength and the human part being the mind. He has the mind of a Detroit street policeman. In this 3rd portion of the series, Robocop is trying to get rid of the street folks, the homeless folks in Detroit, to make way for a brand new city. What we have now is a scene from Robocop 3 where Robocop is on the prowl.
Music. This is actually a pretty important subject. Try to stay with the classics, I would say. Stones, Elvis, Stevie Wonder, James Brown, always. Anything Motown. Don't get into trendy music, anything where a guy would set himself on fire, I would avoid. Your mother is going to be of no help in this area. She would try to fill your head with show tunes if she starts singing Some Enchanted Evening. You have made turn and run the opposite direction, otherwise you're going to have South Pacific coming out your nostrils. Temptations. Can't lose. Can't lose the Temps. Smokey. What next?
All right, that's a scene from My Life.
That's a Robocop 3, isn't it? With Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, yeah. Instead of doing Batman, he's doing Robocop 3 now.
But we had a little snafu there, so we're going to start with My Life then. So that was a clip from My Life. It's a story of Bob Jones, who finds out that he has terminal cancer at the same time his wife finds out she's pregnant. So he is determined to videotape his life so that his kid will have something to remember him by. That was a clip of him videotaping his life there, so that his kid has something to remember by. What do you think of this movie?
Well, Steve, I like this movie a lot. It's funny, and then it's sad, and then it's funny again, and it's sad, and then it's sad, and then it's sad.
I don't know. I didn't like the movie at all, to tell you the truth. And it's not that it was a bad film. It just didn't appeal to me. It has its merits. I think some of its flaws, I thought some of the dialogue was a little corny, a little melodramatic. I thought it was a contrived tearjerker. I thought it was trying too hard to be a tearjerker. And basically, the idea of someone dying of cancer just doesn't appeal to me. My idea of fun at a movie is not going to see a guy dying of cancer. I know you may say, "Oh, it's not about a guy dying of cancer."
Well, it is about a guy dying of cancer, but it's also a guy finding himself inside, reaching into himself and finding out what's caused this cancer.
I don't know. It just didn't appeal to me. But one thing, he's going about videotaping his life for his kid, and I think the only thing that goes to show is that if you're going to document your life on video, I think it only proves that your life is pretty boring. To me, this may have been a great gesture for this kid, but I didn't really care about this guy's life. He's not the president. He's not the heavyweight champion of the world. He's just an average guy. If I was to make a movie about me, you'd be bored to tears, and I was pretty bored.
I think that the children actually would be very thrilled.
Oh yeah, they
to
would.
have a videotape of their parents' lives.
Yeah, but I'm not.
I mean, well,
as a viewer, I'm not interested in it.
I liked it. I liked it a lot, and I think that you're saying you don't always go to the movies to laugh. Sometimes you go comedy and tragedy.
Well, I didn't cry. I didn't even cry at this movie. I just wanted to get out. Like I said, it's not a bad movie. It's just it did not appeal to me. I can see it appealing to others. One of the reasons I still have a hard time accepting Michael Keaton in a drama. I still think him as a comedian like Night Shift and those films. And though this film has some lighthearted moments, I still have a hard time accepting him in those kind of roles.
I'm going to give this film 4 stars.
I'm going to go with just 1 star. Like I said, not my idea of a good time. All right, now let's go on with Robocop.
Let's go ahead and look at this scene from Robocop, Robocop 3, which was actually filmed here. Most of it was filmed here in Atlanta. So.
Yes, Robocop 3 came out last Friday. My Life is coming out this coming Friday. This is a confusing show, isn't it? Wait, we have a phone call still? He's gone?
Okay.
Call back.
Go ahead. We got the scene?
Thanks for dropping by, Murphy. Are they gone?
I'm still scanning 3. Make that 2.
Okay, that's a scene from Robocop 3, which opened last Friday. It's directed by Fred Decker. It has Robert Burke in the role of Robocop. Peter Weller, I guess, was too busy making other things at the time.
Yeah, you couldn't tell the difference.
Does have Nancy Allen reprising her role as Lewis, his partner.
Yeah. I went into this film really dreading it, to tell you the truth. I was thinking that this is going to be as bad as Robocop 2. I'm not interested in it. I came out very pleasantly surprised, to tell you the truth. It's not a bad film. It's not as good as Robocop 1, but it's definitely not as bad as Robocop 2. It's somewhere in between, and I thought
you
it was
didn't like
fairly
Robocop
enjoyable.
2?
No, I didn't like Robocop 2 at all.
See, I like Robocop 2. I like Robocop 1. I like all of Robocop movies.
I didn't. I would say for sure if you didn't like 1, in my opinion, if you didn't like 1, I wouldn't see this, but I wouldn't judge this one on 2. If you hated 2, I might give this one a chance.
Plus, you've also got all these Atlanta surroundings, Atlanta scenery, and you can look at they originally used Dallas for the RoboCop films, and this is a real treat for Atlanta audiences because it's supposed to be Detroit, and it looks like Atlanta, and you see Peachtree Plaza in the background, and you say, oh, look, that might be Auburn Avenue.
I didn't even notice it, to tell you the truth. The reason I got caught up into this film is that it's an underdog film, all right? RoboCop starts off to run off the homeless people from this tenement city that they're going to bulldoze to build some new town or something like that. But he looks at these innocent people, and his orders pop up. You know, his 4 orders.
Serve the public trust.
Yeah, one is protect the innocent. He sees these innocent people, and he says, I'm going to get on with these guys. And then on the other hand, you got the slime bag corporate execs over at OPC. They're trying to run everybody off.
One of them is Rip Torn. Rip Torn.
Yeah.
I was like really shocked to see Rip Torn.
So I was really rooting for RoboCop to get these guys. I think maybe a little downfall of the film that's rated PG-13. So we really didn't get to feel the excitement and the thrill when the bad guys get their guts splattered all over the place like in the old ones. Here it's just a few bullets and they fall down and dead. It's not as graphically violent as the old ones. Right.
I did enjoy that about RoboCop 1, that it was it was graphically violent, but at the same time it was just so funny the way that some of the things were
I'd like to mention something real quick on the ratings. The original RoboCop was rated R, extremely graphic. That may be one of the most violent films I've ever seen. Yet they're trying to sell toys to this movie, and any kid with responsible parents obviously should not have seen Robocop. But they're trying to sell these dolls. Robocop 2, they tone it down a little bit, still rated R. Finally, here at Robocop 3, it's rated PG-13. I still think it should have been rated R. I thought there was still a lot of violence. The body count and the profanity is just as much as the other one. It's just not as graphic. And anyone under 13 should not go, and I don't know why they over 13 aren't going to buy dolls and stuff like that. So I don't know if they've served their purpose here. But I thought it was definitely a rated R film. What about you?
I think the PG-13 rating is fine for this film.
I have to disagree on that. I'm going to give it 3 stars. Like I said, a pleasant surprise there.
We go with 3 stars.
And that's on our 4-star system. So
and you figure each star is worth $1.50.
So what's that, about $4.50, something like
$4.50.
that?
So not quite the $6 or $7, but
well, if you've seen the other 2 and you're a big fan, I'd go check it out no matter what. But anyway, that's what we got. And now let's look at the Atlanta Top 10. This is what came out this week.
These are the films that you went to see this weekend, so don't blame us for your chart ratings. These are the films you actually paid money to see. Number 10 is Fatal Instinct. It takes the biggest plunge this week, dropping from number 4 all the way down to number 10. And number 9 this week is Cool Runnings, inspired by the true story of the Jamaican bobsled team.
That's still number 5 nationally.
It falls out of the top 5 for the first time in 5 weeks here. And number 8 is Malice. This is Alec Baldwin and Nicole Kidman in this suspenseful thriller. It was number 7 last week, and it's the 6th week in the top 10. And number 7 this week is Wesley Snipes and Sylvester Stallone in Demolition Man. It falls all the way from number 3 down to number 7. Remaining at number 6 for the second week in a row is Rudy, the story about the Notre Dame walk-on. This is inspired by a true story happened back in the early 70s.
Great movie.
And number 5 is Look Who's Talking Now. It's the 3rd installment in the Look Who's Talking series. This time it's the animals that talk, with Danny DeVito and Diane Keaton doing the voices of the animals, a la, Homeward Bound.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to see that one.
Debuting at number 5. Number 4 is Flesh and Bone, a film we reviewed last week with Meg Ryan and Dennis Quaid. It debuts there.
It's number 2 nationally, believe it or not. We were surprised it would do this well.
Yeah, exactly. Number 3 is Robocop 3, the highest debuting film this week, which we just reviewed. Number 2 is Nightmare Before Christmas. It remains at number 2 for the 2nd week in a row. And I know if they're smart, they're not going to release this on home video. They're probably going to show this in the movie theaters every year from Halloween to Christmas time to capitalize on as much money as they can. And number 1 this week, for the 4th straight week, number 1, Beverly Hillbillies.
And Beverly Hillbillies is number 6 nationally, so I guess those people here in Georgia can relate to the Hillbillies. Maybe that's why
I would think. I wonder what it's doing in Arkansas.
Is that where it was?
That's where it's based. So.
Yeah. Anyway, The Good Son's finally out of the top 10. Lasted 6 weeks, got as high as number 1. Judgment Night, 3 weeks, got as high as number 6. That's a big disappointment. I thought that would do rather well. And Gettysburg lasted 2 weeks, never got as high as number 10, and that's in the top. That's what's dropped out this week. So let's get on with the Critics' Choice. Like I said, this week our favorite computer-oriented films. Aaron, what are yours?
My favorite computer-oriented films. This wasn't too difficult. There were several that came out. Number 3 was Sneakers. It came out in 1992, directed by Phil Alden Robinson. It stars Robert Redford, Sidney Poitier, Dan Aykroyd, River Phoenix, the late River Phoenix. And it's a story about a private company who's paid to break security systems, and the government hires them to break into theirs to steal a magical box that will break computer security codes, and they end up in big trouble. It's a good film to see. Robert Redford is excellent as the male lead in this film. My number 2 film is War Games, starring Matthew Broderick and Dabney Coleman. It's about a teen hacker who breaks into a computer system that, unbeknownst to him, is owned by the federal government. And he wants to play a game called Global Thermonuclear War. The problem is that the game is actually a simulation that the computer is controlling the missiles, and so the computer's controlling the missiles, and Matthew Broderick ends up in a lot of trouble. This was directed by John Badham and came out in 1983. My number 1 computer-inspired film is Terminator 2: Judgment Day. Directed by Jim Cameron, came out in 1991. It stars Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's the story of a futuristic world where there's a war going on between the computers and the humans. And they both send representatives back in time to try and change history for their benefit. Those are my top three.
All right, my number 3 computer-oriented film is Sneakers. Sneakers begins in the 1960s as 2 computer hackers, Martin Bryce and Paul Cosmo, are transferring money from one bank account to the other. As fate has it, Martin is sent out on a pizza run, and just moments before the feds raid the building and arrest Cosmo, Martin gets away. 30 years or so later, he's changed his name to Bishop, and he now runs a high-tech security operation, which is run by a charismatic assortment of oddballs, each of whom has a distinctive characteristic, personality trait, as well as a criminal record and a shifty background. Now, in addition to these colorful characters and an exciting blend of action and comedy, Sneakers takes us on an inside look of high-tech espionage. The film is filled with computer gadgets and spy equipment, and it shows us how to foil all sorts of security devices. I have no idea what's fiction and what is fact in this film, but it's entertaining nevertheless. And you don't have to be a computer geek to like this one. Sneaker was written by Walter Parks and Lawrence Lasker, who also wrote the high-tech thriller War Games. In fact, they wrote this script back in 1983, shortly after War Games was released, and it sat on the shelf until just a few years ago when Robert Redford got involved with it. My third favorite is War Games. Aron's also. It's about the teen hacker that almost starts World War III. War Games is a high-tech thriller packed with enough computer hardware and techno jargon to make it quite believable. And the same case with Sneakers. I don't have any idea if any of this is true or not, but it sure looks good. War Games takes us into the unknown world of computer hackers and nuclear defense strategies. And from the beginning, when it shows us how the missiles are launched to its final moment of truth, War Games keeps our minds and our nerves on red alert. Furthermore, writers Lasker and Parks confront us with a very peculiar situation here, with people relying more and more on computers. What happens when computers go haywire and people don't know how to stop them? What's going to happen when we can no longer think for ourselves? War Games was the 4th highest grossing film of 1983 and received 3 Academy Award nominations, 1 for Best Original Screenplay, 1 for Best Cinematography, and 1 for Best Sound. And my third favorite computer-oriented film came out in 1985. It's called Weird Science. Writer-director John Hughes has taken teen sex hormones and combined them with the Frankenstein myth and has turned one of the most idiotic ideas ever conceived into a very funny and very sexy film. 2 nerds can't meet girls, so what do? Well, the next best thing, they create one on their computer. As 2 high school losers who have absolutely no friends, Anthony Michael Hall and Ian Mitchell Smith are a casting coup. These guys are geeks, just like the ones you have in your high school. They think up geeky things like inventing a computer-generated girl. I mean, that's so stupid, only a geek would think about it, right? Yeah, but when it works and out comes Kelly LeBrock, wow. LeBrock gives the sexiest performance ever given by a woman in a movie. She has a blast in her role as a computer-generated sex goddess who knows how to use sex as a weapon. And I had to change my shirt after this one because I drooled all over myself. So if you can't enjoy the adolescent humor of this film, you can at least enjoy the feeling that a woman of LeBrock's stature gives you. Lust. Now, I'm not saying this is for guys only, but women will have to appreciate this film for its comedy merits only. There's no extra sexual bonuses for female viewers, unless, of course, you like 15-year-old boys. Or women, for that matter. But Weird Science is not to be taken seriously, for it does come from the it's so stupid, it's funny school of thought. Those are my 3 favorite computer-oriented films. And remember, Critics' Choice is for the people that go to the video store and don't know what to get. So we just told you, actually, just 4 new movies that you need to
4
go out
films.
with. All right, let's get on with the video releases. This is what's coming out on video this week. We have Sliver, which we gave 2.5 stars back when it came out. Tommy Knockers, which we have not yet rated. And Weekend at Bernie's 2, which we gave 2 stars.
Weekend at Bernie's 2, it's got kind of a little magical, kind of quirky.
Well, no, those are your 2 stars.
Right, those are my 2 stars.
And on pay-per-view this week, we have Benny and June, which we both like very much. We gave it 3.5 stars.
Make sure and catch this film.
Yeah,
Benny
Excessive Force and Indian Summer, which have yet to be rated, and Posse, which is an artsy western directed by, my mind's a blank. Who did that one?
Mario Van
Peebles. Yeah, that's a good. All right, and that's what's on pay-per-view. So check your local times and see what's coming on.
Okay. Each week on Film Forum, we have a special guest. This week is no different. We have Debra Kennedy. She is the general manager of AMC's North Lake Festival. What we'd like to do now is welcome Debra to the show. Debra?
Thank you.
How you doing, Debra?
I'm good.
We really appreciate you taking your time out from your busy schedule, because we know how the schedules work. They're very hectic with the features coming out, and we really appreciate AMC loaning you us for
That's about what they've
this
done,
evening.
Yeah. Let me get off here with the first question. I heard, I don't know if this is true or not, so you can answer it,
Okay.
that the movie theaters don't get any of the ticket prices. They have to make everything on concessions. Is that true?
Basically, in a manner of speaking, what percentage we do retain from the ticket price may pay for the rent, it'll pay for the utilities, but any kind of profit that we hope to get is from concessions.
Is it?
And it's a hard thing for the customers to understand, and it's hard for us to explain sometimes why the concession prices are so high, but that's so we can be in business.
Okay, we've got a phone call here for Debra Kennedy. Caller?
Yes. Hello, fellas.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello, Miss. Let's talk business for a moment. So there's a lot of theaters going $1.75, $1.50, maybe even before it's $2.25 a pop.
So you're saying that the theaters are going with discount prices?
Yeah.
$1.75,
Right.
$2.25?
Uh-huh.
Right.
Okay. What's the question?
Well, I'm even to think about that on the as far as movie shop video chain drops down to $1 pop. Now, for a person,
Oh, hold on a second before you go any further.
Hang on a minute. It sounds like you've got
we're
an
having
electric toothbrush in your throat here.
We're having technical
Okay.
difficulties here.
Speak slower.
No, the phone thing's messed up.
I know,
Yeah.
but speak slower and try and get.
Well, if the question is about discount theaters, that's something that we have with AMC also. Our Tower Place location charges just $1, and what that is they run second run movies. So after a film's been out a couple months and has made the major money, then it goes to a second run theater and they can charge $1 because what we have to pay is a lot less to the distributor.
Mm-hmm. So how do you get these movies? Who decides on what films will be shown at the theaters?
Well, we have a booking office, the film office, which is a separate entity from myself. That's probably the one thing that I don't have control over that I would like to in my location. But the movies are booked nationally through AMC Film, and depending on what competition I have in my market, for me at North Lake, I have Market Square, which is a Cineplex Odeon theater. So that theater and my theater share.
So that keeps two copies of Batman being in the same location.
Right, and we call them pockets. So in approximately a 5-mile radius, you wouldn't really find the same movie in two locations.
Well, it seems like you do, though.
In Atlanta, it comes really close, and there's probably some overlap.
Well, let me ask you this. Some of the theaters on the smaller films, like lately Phipps has been having an exclusive on a certain movie.
Right.
Is it possible to get an exclusive on a film such as Jurassic Park, or they're not interested in
The theater companies won't let you do that, will they?
Well, no, it's not up to us. It's up to the theater
movies.
the movie distributor, how many screens they want to run on.
They want to get as many as
Right.
possible. They could care less if it's showing in a bunch of different. Do they care if it's showing right next to each other?
Well, typically they don't want to. I don't think they want to do that. They want to spread out the product. But with an art film, which is what Phipps has been showing exclusives on, that's a great way to build word of mouth when there's only one location to go to.
So, do you have any influence at all as to what films your theater is going to get? Like, do you call the booking office and say, "Oh, well, listen, I really wanted to get this film into my theater"?
Well, I can certainly tell my booker that, and I'm very lucky he'll listen to me. But generally speaking, not really. If there is a choice, I may be asked about my audience. Well, what do you think my audience would like, this movie or that movie? And sometimes, once in a great while.
Well, I was going to ask, what happened to the old-time theaters? Everything seems to be in a mall now with 10 screens and everything. Can just a movie theater such as Terra, I mean, I guess it is making its money, but if they were all like that, how come they...
Why are there more
What was the
screens?
demise of the smaller movie
Well, I
houses?
think certainly the quality of the movies has something to do with it. And, let's say, unfortunately, you have a 2-screen theater and you get 2 movies that don't do well. How can that theater possibly make money? But if I'm in an 8-screen or a 12-screen, chances are I'm going to have some movies making money. And, it's just a matter of being able to run your business.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how did you get started doing, did you want to work in the theater business as an exhibitor?
Well, how did I first get started?
Yeah.
About 13 years ago, I applied as a concessionist to AMC. And,
So you've got popcorn butter in your blood.
I do. Pretty scary.
So now, if I've been at a movie before where I'm the only one there, and I don't buy any popcorn or anything, so obviously the movie theater's not making a dime.
Off
Possibly.
off you in that one theater.
Now,
But
does it ever come like if only one person shows up, they're going to refuse to show the movie, or do they
no,
have to show it?
we'll always show the movie.
I remember at one theater, like people were mad because they actually pulled that on them. I don't know.
You certainly won't see that at AMC.
So if no one shows, you don't run the movie if nobody's in there.
Well,
do you?
typically we start it anyway because it's scheduled to start at a certain time, and customers may come late. So yeah, chances are it's on screen.
And AMC, I notice, also has the latest showings.
Oh,
the,
right.
The latest showings at night, and the earliest showings. You were mentioning something about a 10 o'clock show.
10 a.m.s
well.
on Saturdays. Yes, that's an experiment.
You know, they have the matinee prices now to get you there earlier, and it seems like on the weekends you wouldn't really need matinees. Do the weekend nights still draw more than during the daytime, even with the lower prices?
Generally speaking, at least at my location, the Twilight show on Saturday and the primetime show on Saturday, which is the 5 o'clock set and the 7 to 8 o'clock set, are the busiest shows of the week. And that's just the prime time to go to the movies, I think.
So no matter even during the weekend when no one's working, it's still hard to lure them in there at budget
Early,
prices.
right. I mean, here
They still
we have,
aren't that budget anymore.
Well, we have the cheapest price for a first-row movie in Atlanta, which is $275 for our Twilight shows and for our 10 a.m. shows on Saturday mornings. So that's not bad.
Most of them are like $3.75 or $4, so
The
you
other-
don't save too much.
Yeah, the other companies.
Okay, Debra, we're out of time. We thank you for being on the show, taking time out of your busy schedule.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
All right. Learn a little about theater.
Be with us next week on Film Forum, and we'll have a special guest involved in the film industry. We'll have 2 feature releases, and our Critics' Choice will be in honor of River Phoenix, our favorite River Phoenix films.